is Jamie Kim Price. I was born in Yeosu, South Korea, which is the southern part of South Korea. My family and I immigrated to California when I was 10 years old, so it's about a little over 20 years. And I currently live in Phoenix, Arizona. When I was growing up, I was 10 years old, learning new language, being in a new environment, and making new friends. At first it was exciting, but as I grew up, I think these were struggles probably as an immigrant person, but I really didn't think of them as a struggle. The subconscious assumptions, expectations, judgments, I realized I started to feel against me and also against other people. I was born into the practice when my parents started practicing in South Korea, and I really didn't start practicing until I was in my early 20s, when I was going through some rough times in college. Through my SGI group, there's a young women's division group that support each other through chanting Nam-myoho Renge-kyo and studying the Buddhist philosophies to really understand that we have self-worth more than we think, and we deserve many things, even though sometimes we don't feel like that. So when we go through a lot of struggles or challenges, looking for jobs and whatnot, we support each other in terms of our faith and being able to really encourage each other to keep going. I chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo to be able to really awaken my full infinite potential within, and really having that confidence and being able to share with others that they can change their situation as well. The message that I would like to express to the young people: there's a lot going on in the world, and you can easily feel heavy or lacking empowerment. But I think that one person can make a big difference, and that's what I learned from my mentor Daisaku Ikeda. That one person's self-transformation and really overcoming limitations can change your community, change your society, and actually change the country and the society as a whole.
My name is Batam Tsitsik Batku. I prefer to call Maggie. I'm 35 years old. I'm from Mongolia. I grew up in nomadic lifestyle. We move 3 times a year to provide good food for our animals so they can survive in harsh winter in Mongolia. I've been living in America 11 years. I moved here when I was 22 years old, and I love America, the opportunity this country provides. Coming to America, I faced many challenges. Language barrier, culture shock, not having family support in the country. But I met many wonderful people in the American community who helped me to overcome my obstacles, teach me their culture, language, and everything about the country. I've been practicing Buddhism in less than a year, and I love Nichiren Buddhism, and it helped me to be a better person. And same time, I can support others same way as I love myself. And that's the best part of the practice. The philosophy of Nichiren Buddhism helped me to be a better person every day. At the same time, I also can help the community, give back to the community, and support the individual I cross paths with every day. My message to the young people is never give up their dream, especially the bad days. Never ever forget you are going to win in every day.
Hello, my name is Lola Afolabi. Actually, my full name is Titi Lola Mitsuko Afolabi, but everyone calls me Lola. I'm originally from West Africa, so I'm half Nigerian, half Ghanaian. Grew up in Nigeria for the first 17 years of my life and moved to the United States in 2012. Growing up in Nigeria, I was actually very different from what I am right now. I was an introvert, I was quiet, I was very shy. I grew up at the age of about 10. I went to boarding school, which is quite a common practice for young girls and young children in Nigeria. And it was an only girls boarding school, so I just maintained myself, kept to myself. I was very involved in sports. The culture in Nigeria is very interesting. We're very family and community oriented. So we knew everyone in our neighborhood. We used to walk to my grandmother's house, which was like about 2.3 miles away. And so, it was a very family friendly, upbringing. Grew up around my family for all my life, and I moved here when I was 17. Moving to the United States, I wouldn't call it a struggle, but more of like a change in perspective. You know, I came here on my own at 17, so I had to really fend for myself at a very young age. Common struggles or obstacles I encountered was, you know, financially, just trying to learn how to be an adult on my own in a new country. Other than that, one other maybe a certain struggle that I faced was also, you know, encountering people that had a very inappropriate view of growing up in Nigeria or West Africa. And so just having that dialogue and conversation, and sometimes I end up being made fun of, you know, oh, you grew up on trees or you lived with monkeys. And, you know, that was a hard challenge for a young person. But over time, I recognized that I had to teach and educate them and raise their level of understanding and knowledge of growing up in West Africa. I was actually born into this practice. Both my mom and dad started practicing in the 1970s. So my entire family, immediate family, we all chant Namyo Horenge Kyo, which is our method of practice in the SGI. And, you know, we've loved every single moment of it. I really feel this Buddhist practice is grounded on the belief of personal and human revolution. So really transforming ourselves on a daily basis, moment by moment, to really bring out, you know, the better part of ourselves. And so this practice, you know, the way I support young women is through home visiting them, you know, through encouraging them, sharing words, and also sharing their struggles with them. And I've, you know, from this practice, I've learned that, you know, the more we do that as a community, the more we keep ourselves closer, you know, to each other, and we share our struggles with each other, we can actually expand our friendship, expand the, you know, sense of confidence within our lives. So through this practice of supporting young women, I've also been able to get that benefit. And remember when I said I was a shy and introverted kid, it's really helped me to open up my life and support so many young women, regardless of where they're from. And I can actually find joy and happiness within that movement. The message I like to share with every young woman or person is to flourish and blossom just as you are. Growing up, one of my favorite quotes was, "Variety is the spice of life, and just as you are, you bring to this world something that nobody else can." And so I'd like to encourage every young person out there, you know, just, you know, continue to love yourself, continue to, you know, feel comfortable in your own skin, continue to just bring out the best of you, because just as you are, you make the world a much better place.
My name is Nadia, and I was born and raised in Mexico City. Well, I have been in America for great 20 years. The differences are great because, as you may know, Mexico is a third world place. So when I came here, I think one of the things that I enjoy the most is, you know, there is corruption everywhere, but here you cannot get away as easy as you can. So I believe they have a little more respect for human being, and I love that part about it. I've been practicing my entire life. My mom got introduced to this practice 2 years before I was born. And actually, this is the first benefit she has through me, because I was born with a defective feet. My feet were touching my toes, and the doctor told my mom that I will need extensive surgeries, you know, to correct it. And about when I became 16 years old, I will be able to walk normally again. So my mom poured herself into, you know, into the Gohonson, and she chanted. About 15 days after I was born, my feet came back by themselves. The doctors were in disbelief. That's when my mom said, you know, this Buddhism really works. I discovered that human beings have values, you know, and when they discover those values, they discover their mission of life. So you find a way of life through this practice. So when I realized how important that was in my life, I make a vow to repay my debt of gratitude to my mentor. So I determined to build a same group here in Arizona, from kids in between 4 and 12 years old. And right now we have the band. It's called Side by Side, and we are in about 13 to 16 members in there. So this is, I understand, society is pulling very hard, you know, in an opposite direction. But when we have the chance to train our youth, we are pulling even harder, but chant to your life, because this is what this philosophy is. It's to awake the best out of ourselves. I will say, if you don't believe it, it's okay, just do it.
Is it easy to chant?
It is easy. It's not a word that I will put. It's our right to chant. To chant is our right, and we need to exercise that right. Why? Because this is the awakening of our lives. I think when I was about 10 years old, I used to listen to my leaders. Will say, if you stick to this practice, you will find happiness. In your life. Now, when I'm 46 years old, I can completely testify what they say. This Buddhism has been giving me not just the choice to be happy myself, but I can see how I'm transforming generation by generation the life of my family. It's very clear now.
My name is Khushbu and I'm from Central India. If you might have heard of Bollywood, I'm not exactly from Bollywood City, but close to Bollywood City. My childhood, I would say, was pretty awesome. I was born into a joint family of 6 people, and I'm the eldest child of the family, so I was always pampered, raised up like a princess. Never had to do any office chores or house chores. I have been in America for almost 8 years. I came here in October of 2010. The biggest challenge that I faced was how to be an independent girl. As I said, I was coming from a joint family, everybody around me, protecting me, taking care of me. When I came here for work, I was left alone. I did not even know how to drive. I was dependent on people around me to take care of me. I was never raised in an independent manner while I was in India. I have been practicing this Buddhism for almost 9 years. I got introduced to this Nichiren Buddhism in 2009, and an year after I moved to America. From this practice, I have always learned to take action, to learn this philosophy and put into life. As I came here alone and I have gone through few major struggles, I ensured that anybody who is coming here new, not from any part outside the United States, but even who is coming new to Phoenix, Arizona, I try to help them out. I try to be friends with them. I try to show them what are few good places they can go, and I'm always there to support them. I would say to young people, don't be afraid to try new things. Explore this world. This world is beautiful. I'm an immigrant, and I never thought that my life would be so good here. I feel that I got so much of support from SGI Women's Division members. They always embraced me. They welcomed me with their open arms. So I always give this message to youth that don't be afraid to fail, don't be afraid to try new things. People are out there to support you.
My name's Amy and I'm from England. I grew up in a village of about 2,000 people. It was a small community, but there was a lot of freedom. My parents really trusted me. I have a younger brother and we were pretty much allowed to be out till it was dark. My best friend lived 10 minutes away from me, so I would just walk there, hang out with her a lot. It was a pretty good childhood. I felt very loved and very supported, and I had a lot of really good friends. I've lived in America for 15 years and I've been in Phoenix that whole time. The hardest thing when we moved, so we moved when I was 17. It was 2 weeks before the start of school, so my senior year, and I didn't know anyone, and I'd never been new to a school by myself before because I'd known the same people since I was a kid. So that was really hard, not having any friends, like eating lunch by myself, and then when I would say anything in class, people would turn around and stare at me, and they'd ask like if I was an exchange student or like why I'd moved here and stuff, and that was really hard. Then as I got older, or even at that age, I wasn't able to work for a few years because of my visa status. Because we moved to my dad's job, so we were all on like I think it's an L2, so he could work, but I couldn't work, my brother couldn't work, my mom couldn't work. So I was used to having my own money, and I couldn't do that because of the legality of it. And then The other hardest thing, and something I still struggle with even now, is not knowing pop culture, like not growing up here. You know, I didn't read like Green Eggs and Ham as a kid, like just little stuff that people will comment on, and I'm like, I don't know anything about that, I didn't grow up here. And then even bigger stuff like learning to drive over here, and like not knowing how credit scores work, like it was all completely new, and there's still some stuff even now that I just have no idea what people are talking about, and that's hard sometimes. I've been practicing just over 4 years now. My Buddha birthday was on July 11th this year, and I wasn't really introduced by a person, I kind of introduced myself. There's this podcast called a Buddhist podcast that an English couple used to record out of their kitchen, and they've both been practicing for 20 plus years, so I got interested that way, came to the center, got connected to somebody else called Amy in the Biltmore district, and that's where I practice now. My message to young people is don't give up hope. There's a lot of crap happening in the world, and I'm sure there's like some really intense stuff that's happening in your own lives and has in the past and probably will in the future, but don't give up. Like, don't let it overcome you. Like, if there's like an inner darkness or like just, I don't know, bad stuff in your environment, just overcome it and believe that you have the power to do that. Like, you have the power, nobody else has that. And yeah, just don't give up hope and you're gonna be okay.